Okay, I've just finished reading this book, Graham Swift, Making an Elephant, Writing from Within. Now, it's a book that I've been reading on and off for about the past 6 months or so. I got it for my birthday last year. Because it's the kind of book that demands that. It's a collection of essays. Swift is not an author that I know an awful lot about. I haven't read very much of his work, but I particularly like this collection of essays because although it suggests that it's primarily about writing, in fact, Swift covers all kinds of things. He writes about fishing, he writes about his father, he writes about his childhood. Of course, all the time, he's also really talking about writing. But it allows him to do so without being too heavy-handed, without being too pretentious about it at all. And these are often very short pieces that you can dip into and dip out of. And it's very intelligent writing. And I found it incredibly engaging, far more engaging than when writers do try and very specifically talk about their craft of writing. But writing is threaded throughout everything that he says here. I'm not going to go into each essay in great detail because that would be far too difficult. But I did just want to draw attention to a wonderful essay in here, which perhaps, ironically enough, is the one that is most specifically about writing than any one of them. And it's an essay called "I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside." And it was a talk that he gave in France, in Nice, about the craft of the writer. And he particularly talks about the importance of place. And he talks about how the locality of a setting actually speaks to a wider universality, and that great dichotomy between personal and universal and very local and global. And he says, just a couple of things I'll read to you. He says, "It's surely this I've been here too territory, with its countless possible external approaches, but its common centre of identification, which is the real heartland of fiction, the real destination of storytelling." And I like that. I think that's absolutely true, that it's the locality or the personal in a story that actually speaks on a wider level as well, which makes things so powerful. And he finishes off by saying this, which again is another nice paragraph that I like. He says, "Stories begin when strangeness slips into our lives, as it always will and must, because life is, however much we try to domesticate it, constantly, wonderfully, dangerously strange. Terra incognita may, of course, be that remote wilderness at the edge of the map, but it can also be, as we all have occasion to discover, just around the corner." It's a great selection of essays, definitely worth reading. Graham Swift, Making an Elephant.